Good morning, gentlemen. We're on the way to work and we finished our workout. It was a leg day and it went well. I kind of feel the testosterone moving through my body, but still got to be honest. I don't feel as energized today. I think just like as the week is going, I'm getting more and more tired. But definitely gotta put the release the gas pedal a little bit, if you guys know what I mean. But anyways, guys, my protein shout out, as always, is gonna be my deluxe chocolate. And let's get into our checklist, and we're gonna talk about dominion and authority. Not dominion authority, but yeah, dominion authority for our lives. I'm trying to find our checklist list. Got a whole bunch of trash in there I need to throw out. Anyways, as we can start off, as always, guys, are you getting your 8 hours of sleep? I know 7 to 8. I'm still struggling around 6 hours. I'm still trying to pull it up, but I always go to sleep late by like an hour than necessary, and that's something I just need to be a lot more strict about, because I can feel with everything I'm doing, I can feel it illuminate, right, snowball effect into in the later days of my week. So that's something I need to improve, but hopefully you guys are at least hitting 7 hours, averaging 7 to 8 hours a week. And then the other one, as always, guys, 10 to 16 drinks, cups of water. Yesterday I did a lot better. Today I'm gonna beat it. Gonna make sure I get at least 10 before I leave work. And nutrition, as always, guys, eat whole foods, eat things that are not processed. If you're able to find it somewhere on earth, that's good. You don't want to get things that are super packaged and they throw all the little things in there that for some reason they're in there, but when you look up what they do to you, it's just like, it just becomes questionable of why is it in there, right? So, and then also eating enough protein so that you're maximizing your efforts and your muscle gain when you go and exercise, guys. Don't go to the gym on a regular basis and then go home and just destroy all the effort that you put in. All right, you want a good ROI, right? You want a return on investment. Why are you at the gym? Most of the time you're there to build muscle, right? So make sure you're giving your body everything it needs, protein, for it to build the muscle back. And then also try to get your steps in, guys, anywhere from 6 to 12,000, depending on what you want, where you are in life, or if you're just trying to stay healthy, if you're trying to cut, right? Just make sure you're getting your daily steps in. Don't want to start getting used to just sitting around all day. You're meant to move. There's a lot of people who stop moving. They get desk jobs, and then they get home and just sit and they sleep, and then before you know it, they're not even taking more than 3,000 steps a day. And that's a very slow decline into your decline in your overall health. And walking is the easiest form of exercise, so keep it there. And then daily tasks, right? What do you guys got going on today? Make sure you guys write it on a little sticky note, or write it in somewhere in your cell phone where you're able to look at it and remember what you got to finish. We also have weekly tasks, right? If there's something that you're working on throughout the whole week to get finished, we're aware of it, and we're seeing how am I going to get that finished this week, and how am I gonna, right, move things around in my schedule to make it happen. But the most important thing, guys, right, despite having it on your list, it's not always about crossing it off. It's about making incremental progress on it. That's where you start. You start with writing it down. And then over time, you begin to get a sense of like, okay, how long will this take me? So you have a more of a realistic expectation, because a lot of people put a lot of things on their daily list, and then they end up only crossing off like 50% of it, right? It's just knowing that life happens, and sometimes things go quicker and other times it goes slower. So just knowing that you have a list and you have a to-do list, and you're working slowly but surely, right, towards your goals, is the most important thing. Once you get once you develop a good routine and you got your techniques down, your systems down, then that's when you look for ways of efficiency, of improving the process, improving your methods to accomplish the tasks quicker. So it's a continuous process of improvement. And then, as always, guys, make sure you're setting up boundaries and establishing them. If you fold on some of them, don't beat yourself up, just reinforce and self-advocate. Figure out ways of putting yourself into positions where it will force you to grow, force you to go against your comfort zone, right? Don't get all comfortable and think that life is going to continue to get better as you become comfortable. Life gets better when you begin to break out of your comfort zone. You don't want to get locked up in your, middle school mind, high school mind, and college mind, or even the corporate mind, and feel like this is the only thing I know. You gotta break out of it, because once you get stuck in it, life becomes very bland. You're gonna experience the same emotions day to day to day. That's the real prison. That's the spiritual prison, guys. That you experience the same emotions. Okay, you want to overcome your fears, and now that will make you feel very fulfilled, spiritually fulfilled, if you're intentionally attacking your fears. And then, as always, guys, reflect during the day and the night. What went well? What can go better? What do we need to cut off? Right? These are basically the three. What do we have to avoid? Right? What do we need less of? And then, as always, guys, gratitude. Showing gratitude for your day, what you have, being thankful for what's already in your life, and taking the time to really feel that, and allow that feeling to spread through your mind, and allow that feeling to spread through your body. When you feel your whole body in a state of gratitude, then open your eyes and then see how you perceive the whole world, because it changes. Your emotions are the painters of your reality. So don't allow, the negative emotions, to be the filter, and the ones that are like orchestrating your imagination. We don't That's living out of alignment with God. Everyone's in a rush today. And then the last one, as always, guys, talk with God, pray, ask for your daily bread, ask for guidance in whatever you need guidance in, and his favor. But that leads me to our second segment of this video, guys. Is I was pondering about dominion and authority, and how it relates to my life, is particularly from a spiritual perspective. And dominion usually, it revolves around having power, but it also includes responsibility. And when you understand your responsibility and what you're going to be accountable for, that's the realm of your authority, where you practice your authority. And then a lot of people just aren't able to practice authority, right? Because they don't know their responsibility. The quicker you're able to realize what you're responsible for in your personal life and the spiritual life, you're responsible for expressing love into the world. You're responsible of being a service to humanity, and not in just a religious way. It's also in a very non-religious way, of like creating businesses, creating art, contributing to, the productivity of humanity. And that can be in many ways, right? Being a business owner, an entertainer, in some way you're producing a value. And this is to respect, right, that you are made in the image of a creator. That when you create, you're imitating God, which we're all called to do. Imitate God, that he was love, that he was a servant, right? And he is the creator. And when you abide by these principles, right, and see them as commandments, that you're supposed to be doing these things, in the process you'll realize who you are, which is amazing, which is going to bring you a lot of peace and joy. But it is the fulfillment of heaven on earth. You expressing your love, right, which is your responsibility, into your domain, right, and that's your dominion. Your job, your responsibility is, how can I personally express love into my personal reality? And that requires you to realize, what are your talents? What are you good at? What do you like to do? Right? And figuring out, how am I able to make it happen? It's not going to be easy, God's going to make a way, but you're the catalyst to it. If you're not walking, God's not opening up doors. You have to be taking steps. You got to be making effort, right? It's like the people who pray, oh God, I want to win the lottery, but they're never buying the lottery ticket. You have to step into it, like make actions. When you start taking actions, clarity comes. God reveals more and more things. He's not going to reveal everything to you, because it might overwhelm you and it will make you shrivel up and hide, because you haven't dealt with fears of failure or fear of being let down, right? There's a lot of different things that God has to slowly peel off of your carnal, your low self-esteem, and build you up into being confident for you to be able to handle a greater mission. Because with a greater mission is more responsibility, right? You have more things that you have to be have authority over. And if you're not faithful with little, how can God trust you with more, right? So be faithful with the little that you got, the little of the desire, little of the talents that you have. Cultivate them, show stewardship, right? And through that, you'll accumulate more and more knowledge and wisdom to be entrusted with more. And this Paul touches upon this when he says, become vessels, right? Through renewing your mind, become vessels worthy of greater calls. So when you cleanse your mind and cultivate your soul, right, to be responsible, to be diligent, to be faithful, right, someone that God can trust, he pours more to you. That's why it says the one that has 1 talent, 5 talents, 10 talents, the one that didn't do anything with it, he gave those to the other one. So it's by the same law that and it's the same thing like businesses do, right? When they see a worker that does well and better, they give them the higher position because they know that they can handle it. And the same thing that God does. He's not going to give someone who's incapable of, running a business, because he's incapable of getting his bed together when he wakes up and actually eating a decent meal, right? If he's not able to do the bare minimum, it would not be advantageous for God or for the person to be put in a role that requires more responsibility, more planning, because they just don't fit. The identity has to fit the role. When there's a mismatch, there's chaos. When there's a match, there's harmony. So I was just thinking about, for myself, on what is my domain, what's my responsibility, and which gifts am I cultivating, and how am I able to, package it all up and have authority in that line of life, and seeing that that is God's will. Not to be scared, but it's like, it's blessed, and be bold and step into it. So it's a new season, definitely a new season in my life. And I have more of a clear vision of how I can serve humanity, and different avenues I'm able to do that. So that's great. And now it's just, making it happen, and doing the small things that count every single day to build up that momentum, cultivate the skills, leverage my talents and my knowledge and my resources, and, as it says, be a light to the world. Express love, be at service for others, and that's all the things I'm right now really marinating myself in over and over, and listening to. The two people I'm listening to right now is Miles Monroe, and what's the other guy? Myron Golden. So one is more business kind of oriented, and the other one is more spiritual, principle oriented, and I'm, you know, using those things to really feed my soul and create a plan, like established and structured plan and mission statement. And it's something I'm also gonna integrate and teach on the channel, because this knowledge is important, and I believe this is the key for a lot of believers um, to succeed in life and not be caught up with all the little things in life to the point where they forsake their mission or betray their mission, or are just fully unaware of their mission and what God called them to do. And if they don't know what God called them to do, they're just getting tossed left and right throughout life and really not accomplishing anything. So those are all the thoughts that are going through my mind in my contemplation. And whew, it's a good day. But anyways, guys, as always, take action, be intentional, know what you desire in your life, stand up for it, establish your boundaries, fight for it, fight for something worth fighting for, something beyond just yourself, which is humanity, taking care of your body and friends and family, and being a good steward. Live beyond yourself. And that's where you find yourself, because you're greater than just your ego. So, other than that, guys, take care, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.